Have you ever followed a 3-hour long coding video from YouTube only to get stuck when you are supposed to create your own project? Only to get stuck when you get into an interview and being asked about React concept. In this video, I am going to deliver a theory of React and React concept in such a way that you can feel like you were the one who have invented or created React from the beginning, simply because I'm going to deliver a theory that will give you the whole thing. You are going to be familiar with React such that you can be confident to face the world and even get a job. What if that doesn't happen? I will give you your money back guaranteed. I know you are wondering, did you give me money or did you pay me in the first place? You are already paying me your attention. It is my own duty to deliver high quality education to get you unstuck and help you to land a job in this 2024. Hey guys, what's up and welcome. This is Matthew Msingati, the designer and developer from South Africa. Let me start with a warning. I repeat, let me start with a warning. If you have written a single line of a React code, this video is not for you. I repeat, if you have written a single line of React code, this video is not for you. Who is this video for? This video is for somebody who has never written any line of React code. The reason why I'm saying this, I want to save your time and also save your energy from commenting in the description saying that you don't agree with me. To be honest, you don't really have to agree with me. Why? Simply because this video is going to be opinionated. It's just going to be a sum total of all my opinions about React. As somebody who knows React, I don't think you are interested in that. For somebody who is new, who want to understand React and get the essence of it, including my own opinion, which will be helpful later so that they can learn React and actually get a job and do exactly what I've done. But I did that maybe in a period of 7 to 9 months. I think if I would have known what I know now and all the theory and opinions, I think I would have taken 2 months to learn React and actually land a job. So, without wasting time, let's just jump straight into it. If I've got this somewhat bold and upfront claim, I think it's important for you to understand a little bit about me. Believe me, I'm not going to be too much. I'm just going to give you an idea of where my opinions are coming from. And I'm trying to some sort of come up with some sort of credibility, okay, so that you can understand where my theories are coming from. This is Coded Design. This is my channel. Here, I am hoping to show you how long do I have with React. Well, to some critics out there, the guys who have 10 years experience with React, they will feel like you only got 9 months to come up with your own theories about React. That is the point, my friend. I want to show people who are new in development, who are new in programming. It doesn't have to be 10 years. Okay, if I may quote Muhammad Ali, I think he says, don't count the years, make the years count. Let me repeat, if I would have known what I know now, I was going to take 2 months of learning React and get a better job, okay, and land a job. So, a brief about me. If I can be honest with you, this is the 9th month of me doing React, okay. This video, React Apple Music UI clone. In this video, I am also explaining that I am creating this video to show an employer. I asked for a job and the employer said, go and create a copy of music, Apple Music. and then from then I will see if I'm going to employ you or I am not going to employ you. And he told me that you are supposed to use React, Next.js, or whatever framework, but React, and also you have to use Tailwind. Before that, as you can see, I didn't do nothing, zero, no React at all. But whatever that I was doing before this, okay, paved a role in helping me to quickly understand the essence of React. Okay, so let me just quickly get there. Okay, before that, I had some videos like code elasticity, things that I've made up in my mind just to understand important concept about programming. Well, if I'm new into programming, how could I know what are the important concept about programming? Let me just tell you, before I get into React, I was listening to this guy. Let me just quickly jump the video and skip so that at least you can see his picture. Okay, this guy is Robert C. Martin. He's famously known for clean code. Okay, I think his name is or the name that we know in the industry is Uncle Bob. Okay, after I've learned about clean code and I heard about clean code, clean architecture, design pattern, I had to follow him. Okay, well, why am I saying this video it's not for people who already know React? Okay, number one, it's going to be theoretical. Okay, most of this video I'm going to discuss React concept that will help you to be able to answer interview question, concept that will help you to understand advanced coding concept and TypeScript. Okay, so as you can see guys, this is a very long video of Mr. Bob trying to explain, talking. Okay, as you can see, this one, it looks like it's more than an hour long. Remember, this is part one. Okay, so let me just quickly scroll here. We've got part 2, we've got part 3, we've got part 4, we've got part 5, we've got part 6. Okay, I have watched all of these. As you can see guys, here he's not coding. Okay, remember, this guy is a guru on clean code, is an OG. He has been doing this for a long time. So if we can say every video here it's an hour, so it means that I have watched 1 2 3 4 5 6 hours of theory. And when I got into YouTube, okay, I realized there are some people, when I'm explaining anything, they quickly say get to the point. They don't understand that the point is the theory. Okay, so enough about that. Okay, this is Mr. Bob. You can just go to Google to YouTube and watch this video for yourself. It talks about clean code. As a beginner, okay, you will understand what's going on here, if I can be honest with you, because it has got nothing to do with code but principle and fundamental concept that have helped me to become a better developer. Okay, one of the things that Mr. Bob is talking about here, I think if I could be able to highlight it, I've got a plugin that can summarize or transcribe what somebody is saying here. Okay, as you can see here, let's see where there are numbers. Okay, let's see. Okay, fiasco at Night Capital about 6 years ago, right? I'm not going to get into details. Yes, let's see what happened 6 years ago at night. Okay, it was just a little dumb mistake, but he managed to lose $450 million. Don't mind about this. And in 45 minutes, okay, a software company lost $450 million in 45 minutes. Well, I'm in South Africa. I'm used to rands. I don't know much about dollars, but based on this event or incident being talked to or being topical in the software development industry, this is supposed to be a lot of money. Okay, so what I did, I went to the internet to get more about the story. Obviously, this really didn't give me the essence of what happened. Then I was like, okay, let me just go to ChatGPT so that ChatGPT can help me to summarize the story. Okay. So I've asked GPT, I've prompted ChatGPT about this. So basically, a company which I think it has got something to do with trading and all those things, they lost 450 million. Okay, they lost. This is a lot of money. Why am I bringing this in the table? Simply because on YouTube, okay, we throw a lot of opinions, okay, about things without really carefully thinking deep about those things. Okay, as YouTube instructors, we are all about getting you to click and getting you to like the video. As a result, this created a community of students who only want to see the code. Okay, if they can cut you off and ask you for the source code. Okay, of which in this video, if you are that type of a person, unfortunately this video is not for you. So now let's just jump straight into it. I think it's about time. At least I have managed to save people some time on watching the video, whereas in watching the video they will just hear my own opinion, which I want you, if you want to save yourself from that, so that you can save yourself from that. So this was 9 months ago. Okay, I was looking for a job. I presented this a React clone. Okay, and for some reason it took me some time to get that job. Okay, and I did a follow-up video saying that the people who promised me about landing a job, they have just disappeared. To be honest, it was very long time and they were silent, but finally they came through. I got the job. Okay, so now let's get into the essence of the video, which is React actually, but I am going to use React Native as some sort of implementation. Okay, so let's get into the theory. Number one, okay, if I were to start afresh learning React, okay, I was not going to code. Okay, I was not going to code. This is the most difficult way of learning React. What do I mean when I'm saying I was not going to code? There is a video on React. I think it's from Facebook themselves. Okay, it's a very long video, but in that video they are unpacking the essence of React. Okay, there's no code there. It's just they're giving you an idea of what's going on. I also watched a video. I think it's by the actual guy who created React at Facebook. He says something along the lines of, I think React is some sort of suggesting an idea about how people think about code. Excuse my writing. Okay, is suggesting a certain idea. So that's the idea that React users love, even though they can't articulate, they can't really express that very well. Okay, but he caught that there is a certain idea that React is trying to communicate, okay, or suggest to developers, to development community about writing code and how we should think about code. As you can see, this is highly conceptual. Okay, it has got nothing to do with actually coding and everything. Okay, so if I was new in React, I was not going to get into code. I would get instead into the essence. Okay, essence. To be very clear, let me just put it this way. I'm not sure this is the right word, but it's somewhat going to work for me. I was going to get into the philosophy. I was going to get into the philosophy of YouTube. Okay, the reason why I'm including philosophy here, I want to give you the essence of mindfulness, thought process, thinking. Okay, really thinking, rationalizing. Okay, since I believe, I realized after that 9 months, even I think it was even almost like after 6 months, okay, that The thinking that I've accumulated about programming and React is the one that sustains me than the actual follow along practical. Okay, a guy shows me, yeah, let's create a dashboard application. We are going to use Next.js, Tailwind CSS, what, and then this is what we do on YouTube as instructors. We list all those fancy tech stack and we tell you that this is what you're going to learn. I realize that after I'm done with this project, I cannot start my own project. Okay, cool. Let's continue. So if I was starting React, I was not going to code at all. I was going to look for concepts. Okay, what else I was going to do? Okay, JavaScript is obviously essential. Okay, but I was not going to, what can I say, dive deep into JavaScript. Okay, maybe I was going to maybe take 10% of JavaScript course. Okay, just to understand the calling functions, arrays, events, and all those things. The reason why I'm saying I was not going to consume a lot of JavaScript content, I would like to believe React is actually encapsulating JavaScript. Okay, as you get into React, you will just realize that you are using less and less and less and less of JavaScript. Remember, I'm talking to a beginner here. Okay, this guy doesn't want to know advanced way of manipulating JavaScript APIs. Okay, he doesn't want to know how to bend the spoon like in the Matrix. Okay, this guy wants to get started. Okay, he's at the entrance. He wants to get started, and I am here to give him the easy and the better way. Okay, based on my experience. Okay, how to get in there, so that it's important to get in the right door. Okay, now enough about this. I think these are the two main important things which I believe is very few people will agree about. Okay, no code and no JavaScript or little JavaScript. Okay, I think this is one of the things that not everyone will agree with. Okay, let's continue, guys. Okay, now that these are out of the way, okay, now what I will do, number one, okay, number one, understand clean code. Okay, it's easy to understand clean code. Uncle Bob, when he explained clean code, he speaks in plain English and gives a lot of stories and gives a lot of context about clean code, what are functions supposed to do. Let me just give you an example of what I heard from him, or maybe I might not like phrase it like the way he will, but this is what I also learned from him about clean code. Functions are supposed to express themselves. Okay, before I had this, I had functions like function names, like add numbers. Okay, then I'll pass all my things and do whatever. But after I had this, okay, I've changed from adding numbers, okay, to more meaningful variable names, more expressive, okay, more expressive, okay, variable names like increment year by 1. Okay, well, a guy who's got like 10 years and 50 years in React, he must said this is too long. Okay, Bob is saying it's better when it's too long, because another developer 10 years after you've been fired from the company, or you've resigned from the company, they can understand from this what the function does. Okay, this is a developer who cares. Okay, this developer cares. These are not my words, it's how Mr. Bob phrase it or puts it. This developer seems to care about the other person who's going to read this code. Okay, he's not that developer who says as long as it works. Okay, so I'm saving you from writing a code that works. Okay, that's the cheapest way or approach of learning coding. Okay, you don't have to write a code that works. Everybody can write a code that works. Even though it's redundant, it's going to take 6 hours for that code to actually get to work. Okay, so getting to work is not an option. So what I will do, I will learn more about clean code. Obviously, you can go and research on Uncle Bob. Number two, I will learn about design patterns. Design pattern, okay. Even if the design pattern will be in OOP, okay, the principles are the same. Okay, so don't mind if maybe you're saying JavaScript is not an OOP language, so what's the use of learning design patterns that talk about this? Knowledge about OOP design pattern has helped me a lot. Okay, well, let's just jump to an example. Okay, obviously, I haven't memorized all design pattern since I am like no longer applying them in terms of like day to day. Okay, but I will just give you a certain concept about a design pattern. The reason why I'm doing this, I want to show you that this has got nothing to do with C++ or C# or whatever programming language or even PHP. Okay, but the concept behind it's so powerful. Let's say you what can I say, you are having a system that has got states. Okay, state 1, state 2, state 3. Okay, what could be a system that has got these states? Okay, let's say you are registering, okay, in what can I say, in academic or in e-commerce. Okay, let's see which one would work. Let's take an e-commerce, something that I think we are all familiar with. Okay, you have to first register. Okay, there are those application where there is a series of steps. Okay, I think this is also familiar. This is also there in, what can I say, in YouTube. Okay, can I show that practically? Okay, I want to give you an example of states. Okay, let me just go to YouTube and can I pretend as if I want to upload a video? Okay, can I pretend as if I want to upload a video? Okay, can I pretend that I want to upload a video? Okay, the video that I want to upload is the one that I am busy with. So this means that I don't have videos to upload, but I've got a very short video here. Okay, before I record any video, I test the mic and test everything to see everything works. So this video is going to be very short, so meaning that it will quickly go through. As you can see, guys, okay, this is what I'm talking about. Okay, these are different states, okay, or stages. Okay, as you can see, guys, you can't jump from here to here. Okay, as you can see, this is not active. Okay, it means that I need to complete certain steps before I continue. So when I'm talking about a state, okay, I'm talking about this process whereby you have to finish this one before you go here, you have to finish this one, you have to before you go here. As you can see, guys, okay, this is very simple and straightforward. Okay, let's go back to theory. Okay, I think I have to put a new page there. Okay, so there is a design pattern. Okay, I think this design pattern is called a state machine. It was a state machine. Okay, it's been a while since I have been working with design patterns. Okay, as I am telling you that I have extracted the concept, okay, the way of thinking, okay, about programming, not necessarily the actual implementation, but how I'm supposed to think about it, okay. So one might approach the problem of states, okay, states might approach it this way, okay. Let's say they will say, if this, then, if this, then, if this, then, if this, then, okay. Design patterns are common software design problems, okay, problems that keep on occurring in the software industry, okay. It's like they are very common, and design pattern, they offer solutions to those common occurring problems. Well, one might be like, okay, in what language? Okay, to be honest, this has got nothing to do with the language, but with the certain way of thinking, okay. This thinking is very important, okay. I'm going to show you that thinking, okay. So as you can see, I am in this stage. Let me just in stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, and stage 4. And this problem requires that I need to complete these stages. Okay, I can't go to stage number 2 without finishing stage number 1. I can't be. So there is a design pattern around this problem. Okay, I'm just going to give you an idea of how that design pattern makes this simple. Okay, so you are going to have modules, okay. You are going to have small independent module. Instead of opening your Visual Studio Code and creating a file from, let's say, line number 1 to line number 10 trying to solve this problem, okay, this design pattern, I just forgot the name, but I will search it later, okay. So this design pattern states that, or this is the approach to it, okay. You create objects, okay, meaning that number one is going to be an object, okay. Object, okay. This object is more like a class, okay. The simpler way of putting this is more like a function, okay. Let me put it more like a function. Obviously, guys, this is a pseudo code, okay, meaning that this will be more English like, trying to drill the principle, okay, not the actual implementation. So please don't trust the syntax, okay. This is not the correct syntax, okay. So this is an object, more like a function, okay. It will receive as a dependency, okay, a state. What is a state? A state can be number 1, can be number 2, can be number 3. As you can see, it will take this state, okay. Obviously it has to return something, okay. This is the trick here. If this is state number 1, an object for state number 1, it can take any state, okay. It can take any state, but it will only, this is very important, it will only return state 2 as a product, state 2, okay. So let's go back. This is object 1, okay. Let's say this is a class, okay. And then object 1 produces state 2, okay. We can just say even it produces object 2 or something like that. And then object 2 will only produce object 3. Object 3 will only produce object 4. When you are using object 1, let's say when we are using this function, because it's easier to talk about these as function, this function will receive dependencies, okay. A dependency which is going to be a state. It has to be a state, meaning that one of these, okay. If you want to get a clear picture, let's say it's one of these objects. This object will receive a state which is one of these, okay. Once it receives that state, it will return back only state 2. If this is 2, it will return state 3, another object. If it's state 3, it will only return this, okay. So how does this simplifies your life, or how does this pattern help you in a way? Number one, it means that you have just avoided a lot of if statement. Okay, you've just avoided a lot of if else, if else, if else, if else, because in this problem there are many conditions. Okay, there's a lot of variety of logical combination, but with this you keep it simple. If I am object 1, okay, I take a state, I will only produce object 2 as a return. If I am object number 2, I will take a state, I will only produce object number 3. So looking at how clean this is, okay, number one, it's highly readable and highly maintainable. Should we have a problem, it's easier for us to go back and say, it looks like, okay, object number 3 is returning, okay, the wrong state because it's supposed to give us state number 4. We can go to this object or to this class or to this function and quickly fix it there. Okay, fix only this class. It's easier for us to know what is the problem. Another thing, another cool thing about this, another developer can work on this module, another developer can work on this module, another developer can work on this module, another developer can work on this module. These are small, independent, manageable problems. Okay, so this object, when it receives a state, it just have to check, okay, is this state like let's say the previous state, the current state, or it's the next state. Okay, it will make some logic based on that. Obviously, as you know that maybe you are not supposed to go back to a previous state, it all those logic will be made here. Okay, so as you can see guys, this is a pattern. For now, let me just say this is a state machine pattern. Okay, it just shows you how can you simplify a very complicated problem. Okay, something that will take you hours and hours and hours trying to make if this else, if this else. You can just think, this is what I promote in this channel, think like an architect and code like an engineer. Okay, so by taking care or by understanding design pattern, you can come up with some sort of an efficient way of doing things. Okay, so I hope you do get the idea of design pattern. Okay, React has design patterns as well. Okay, React has design pattern as well. There are many React design pattern, but for now I'm not going to get into those. Okay, so I think you do get the essence of how I have managed to carry some skills that I have learned while I was thinking that I was busy with PHP and OOP, thinking that those skills I will never use them. Okay, and it happened that with React I am using those skills. Okay, so let's continue guys. So now let's get into React. Okay, now I'm going to be a little bit quick and swift. Okay, now we've got HTML. Okay, we've got HTML. In HTML or in web development, web design, we've got a DOM, something called a document object model. You can create a research about that, but basically a DOM is some sort of like a family tree, kind of a hierarchy. Okay, it's something like that, and these are called DOM nodes. Okay, just like HTML tags. Okay, we've got sorry about that, we've got HTML here. Okay, this is a tag, and we've got a body here, and then you close this, and then we've got a corresponding HTML that closes here. Okay, so this is just like a representation or a visual representation of this. As you can see, this body is inside what is inside HTML. So this will be the HTML, the root of the tree, and body will be somewhere here. Okay, I hope you understand this. Now React comes to say, okay, Now I've got a certain way of handling this. Okay, what is that certain way or that thought process? That thought process is, if we have the same structure, the same DOM element like this one, okay, first of all, I'm going to create my own virtual DOM. Okay, this is some sort of a DOM that React has created for themselves. And then they say, if this node changes, okay, unlike this, I'm not going to start the change from here, going here, going here, going here, going here. No, I need to understand which element that has changed. Okay, this has changed, and then I'm just going to change this and this. I'm only going to change this part. This talks to efficiency. Then this introduces, I would like to say, the important part of React, which is states. Okay, which is state. Okay, states in React. When I'm talking about this part, I even I have a term which is a very silly term, which is USR. Okay, this is United States of React. Okay, so React is centered around the idea of states. Okay, let's say this component has changed, then React will only change this one, and then React will go and save updating these nodes. Okay, because these nodes doesn't need to be changed. It will go to the actual DOM and it will reconcile, okay, its own virtual DOM and the actual DOM. It will some sort of reconcile. It will only change this part, okay, making it quicker and more efficient. So the most important thing you need to get used to is the idea of states. Okay, because if you don't understand this idea of states and this model or what's going on here, you won't understand, what can I say, the re-renderings. Okay, if you don't have this theory, your React code will have a lot of re-renderings. Okay, so I hope you do get the idea of what React is trying to do. Okay, and also the idea of states. Okay, if this data changed, it means that maybe this data that has changed here, it's being used by this label, and also it's being used by this div. Okay, so that's why React is very serious about re-rendering the whole what can I say, all the children under it. Okay, so I hope you do get the essence of this. So basically that's what React does. And then now let's talk about the React concepts. Okay, let's talk about React concept. So if you are working with React, there are some things that you need to know. Okay, number one, hooks. Okay, React hooks. Okay, React hooks, I'm just going to mention a few, those that I think we are going to use in this course, which is use state. Okay, I wish I can only use this one. Okay, talk about this one, but in most cases, what can I say, it makes sense also to mention use effect. Okay, because it's one of those hook that it's kind of like you can't avoid. At some point you are going to use them. Okay, use effect. Okay, let's talk about state. Okay, I think it's very important to understand this one and how to use it. Let's say you've got a React application. Okay, it doesn't matter if it's a pure React or it's React native. Okay, at some point, okay, we've got this structure. Let me just only make two. Okay, let's say this is a normal application. Okay, let me just say no state. Okay, so if there is no state, okay, this means that this application or this interface, okay, it's being rendered. Okay, That means this application is just being rendered as it is. Maybe here we've got an opening element, okay, and then here this is just a label. You are displaying something, you are displaying something, you are displaying something. Is there anything that is going to change in this HTML structure? No. That means you can render this as it is. But what if maybe this is a dynamic value? There is a dynamic value in here. Okay, now we're going to introduce this guy. This guy will help us, okay, to keep track of when is this going to change. I hope this is now starting to be familiar. You are starting to get the essence of, once we get these points, once React monitors, okay, once React using use state, let me do like this. Once React associate use state with this node, okay, then based on the change, let's say this will change to 1 or change to 2 or change to 3, based on the change of this state, okay, React will know that it will go to where this, let's say this is a bomb, okay, like a bomb, you know, when with a bomb you just put it there until somebody try to change the state of the bomb and it will explode. So think of use state like that. So React will plug a bomb here. As soon as something happens here, obviously it actually happens here, okay, please note that it actually happens here, but for the sake of explaining, I will just put the bomb here. As soon as something happens in this node, which this state will know, then React can come and say, okay, let me only re-render this part. So state, it's very important, okay, it's very important. If you don't understand state, you will encounter a problem of React re-renderings. Okay, your code will be inefficient because it will just keep on re-rendering until it crashes. Okay, so as you can see, guys, now we've got this use state that act like a bomb. As soon as this changes to 1, React will re-render this. As soon as this changes to 2, React will re-render this. Why React will re-render this? Because React assumes that the parent affects the children. Maybe there is what can I say, let me just give you a practical example. Okay, we've got this as what can I say, let's say this is an annual income which is 6,000. okay, and then in this annual income, what can we have here? Let's say we've got there's something called, I'm not clued up about this guy, so I might be wrong. Okay, there's something called net income, and what else, the opposite of net income? Let's say whatever income, okay, question mark, whatever income. I haven't been an employee for a very long time. Okay, I've been doing my own things, side hustle, and having my own clients here and there. So there is a net income and there is whatever, I'm not sure if it's passive income or whatever, but people who are coming from like heavy serious working, okay, they know these terms. So let's say the net income, let's say, I don't know if that's true, it's the income after deductions. Okay, so it's going to be 6,000 minus, let's say, deductions. Okay, and the other income is going to be just 6,000, let's say. So as you can see, this is how React thinks. So React is saying, if we've got this label that displays the income, which is 6,000, if this 6,000 changes in this state to 4,000, it means that this will be 4,000. This will be 4,000. But at the same time, these are dependent on these labels, okay, are computed based on this node. So meaning that this has to update, okay, to be now 4,000 minus deduction, and this one is going to be 4,000. I hope you do get what is going on here. Okay, as soon as you grasp and get this, then you will you are on the right path to understanding React. Because I realized after knowing the syntax, meaning that how things are being done, you then need to understand the concept in order for you to produce applications that are at least that the work environment needs. Okay, because in the work environment we don't need the syntax, okay, that I can use a use state, but we want the logic and the thinking and the efficiency that comes out of knowing these. Okay, so knowing these re-renderings, okay, it means then, okay, let me also check here. Let's say we were having a lot of dots under this. Okay, the state, the bomb is here. Okay, let me just put this. Okay, as you can see, let's say the bomb is here, which is, I'm going to say use state. Okay, so the use state is here. As you can see, this detects if did this change. If we change this, okay, from let's say plus to minus, just check how many components will render. Let's call these components or node. This will render, 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 this will render. This is not efficient. Okay, now we are actually into React. Okay, we are now professional React developers. We are actually getting, okay, into development. Okay, let's assume. So, meaning that you need to ask yourself, okay, where am I plugging the bomb? Maybe as a soldier, it's important where you plug the bomb. You don't need to plug the bomb far away from the target. I would like to assume that's the normal logic, okay, as a soldier. If this is the enemy, okay, you need to find a way before they get closer to you. You need to put your use state here. You need to put your bomb somewhere here, okay, so that he must not get closer to you before the bomb explodes, because you might also be affected. Imagine that, okay, plugging the bomb very close to you. As a result, not only the bomb kills the enemy, but it also kills you. Okay, so that's the thinking that I'm trying to introduce here. So now that you know that the use state, okay, the use state is just a bomb that will be triggered, okay, once something happens here. Once this value change from 0 to 1 to 3, all these will re-render. Okay, imagine, let's say here we've got a component, or yeah, let's call it a component because that's the right word. Let's go, this component fetches data from the API, and we are fetching like 1 million track chats. Okay, let's say we are Facebook or WhatsApp, we are fetching 1 million chats. Now this state check if you what can I say, let's say this state checks, are you still logged in? It does that in let's say in 1 minute intervals. Let's say, okay, this state will always check, are you logged in, are you logged in 1 minute intervals. It means that if this node, okay, the fetch node or the fetching component is a child of this, it will mean that this 1 million chat will always be fetched every after 1 minute. Okay, why is that going to happen? Because you've been careless on your use state. Okay, you've put use state in some sort of in a wrong place, so you are like this soldier. Okay, so basically the reason why there is a lot of theory here, I want you to at least become a smart soldier, let's say, so that you know you are going to put the bomb here if the target is here, so that one move they make, the bomb explode, and you are too far away from the scene. Maybe I'm teaching you to be cowards. Maybe I'm teaching you to be cowards. I don't know. But anyway, that's the idea. So depending on where you put your states, okay, your state variable, okay, it's either you are going to be efficient or you are not going to be efficient. Okay, so now how can we solve this problem? Okay, this problem, if I can be honest, it's not solved by theory. Okay, Facebook created React and they told you that this is how React works. I don't think they are responsible for telling you where do you put your bomb. Okay, that's where, guys, then again, design patterns. Okay, Design patterns are solutions to common problem. Okay. What is more important, what the work environment needs from you is not the syntax. As you can see, guys, here I didn't include any syntax. It's not the syntax. It's how smart you are on orchestrating an application. That is what is needed. React is an idea. It's not a tool, it's not a framework, it's an idea to say that this is what I think about coding, about front-end UIs, okay? This is the state, and the state updates this. But React is not responsible for you plugging a bomb closer to you and the enemy. This is your fault. So as Matthew Msengati, the designer and developer from South Africa, I am trying to save you from burning yourself. That's why I'm going to start with theory and conceptualizing and all those things, so that when you are in an interview and you are being asked a question, so that you can be able to reason and answer it, okay? Because you understand what is going on behind the scene, okay? So I hope by now use state it's a little bit clearer, and you know now it's all about using use state, but you need to know where do you put it, okay? So now that we are becoming a smart soldier, let me say this is a dumb soldier, and I'm trying to teach you to be a smart soldier. Okay. Now, as a smart soldier, you are like, okay, this is my bomb, and I've put this bomb here, and this bomb, when it explodes, me and my own team, we explode. I think this is a problem. So you will ask yourself, what is this state monitoring? And then you'll realize, okay, this state is only used by this node, okay? Because here we use is login, okay? This is the only component that want to know about this state. This is the only component. It wants to know, are you logged in, so that it can do whatever. Now, let me introduce this is not my, okay? My apology about that. This is not my pattern or my thinking, okay? Maybe I might come up with different words of saying the same thing, but this is not my original thought process, or maybe I might just come up with different version of saying it, okay? Very important to, what can I say, not to claim things to be yours whereas they are not yours, okay? Now let me introduce the state, which is the United States of React. Okay, this is my own word, obviously. United States of React. Okay, there is a state lifting. Okay, you can lift the state up. Okay, I haven't heard a term about state pull down. Okay, you can lift the state up and you can pull the state down. Okay, this is what it means. Now that you have realized that this bomb is not in the right place, okay, because it looks like you might also be part of the problem. Now you need to decide, am I lifting the state up, or I'm pulling the state down, or bringing the state down? As you can see, guys, this is the DOM, what can I say, the DOM tree or node or structure. Okay, so it's either you take this use state to here. Okay, now what we are doing here, we are pulling down the state. Okay, maybe professionally there is a name for it. Okay, I know about state lifting. Okay, lifting up your state, okay, for some certain reason. But in terms of pulling down the state, maybe there is a better word for it. I don't know, but you get the essence of what I'm saying. So let's use the state pull down. We pull down this state to here. Okay, now that this state is no longer here, it's here. Then React, when as soon as this state changes, let's say this state changes to 1, 2, 3, or 4, this is going to be the only component that will re-render. Only this one. What about these? Remember what I've told you about React. React has got a virtual DOM. React checks what has changed, and then from then it will come and update only the node that has changed. Okay, so what else can you take away from this? Okay, it is very important for React to know the numbers of these component. This is number 1, this is number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Why? Simply because this is the virtual DOM. Okay, so it needs to know which component has rendered. Okay, now let me give you a clue into the syntax. There is something that is required by React, more especially when you are mapping through, what can I say, when you are mapping through an array, okay, or when you are looping to render some components based on a loop. Okay, it always require each what can I say, each element that you render. Let me just put this. Okay, let's say since we're using React Native, let's say this is a view. Okay, if there is a loop here, looping from an array, React requires you to always have an index here as a prop. Okay, let me just delete this. Wants you to have a prop called index, and you must assign a unique number to this index, not the same number. If you, as soon as it's the same number, React will tell you that these children or these components, they don't have a unique index. The reason is React is very high on identifying these nodes, okay, on identifying them, because it wants to know as soon as a certain state changes, okay, from this state to here, it needs to be alert, and it will quickly go and check which one must I render. Obviously, it comes here with a node number or a component number, let's say 01, and then it will be like, okay, this is 01, let me re-render the rest. Okay, there are many techniques and tools, design pattern, a certain way of thinking about React to prevent re-renderings. Sometimes you lift the state up, sometimes you lift the state down. Now I have told you about lifting the state down. I hope you understand that one. Let's talk about when is it ideal to lift the state up. Okay, just to give you an idea. Okay, if you are having an app, let's talk about YouTube. Okay, the app that we are using now. Okay, if you are watching on a mobile phone, you are watching me on a YouTube app. Okay, a YouTube app has got a scrollable view. Okay, those are here. I think there is all here. It's some sort of a filter where if you click here, you will get certain videos based on what you have clicked here. You swipe this around. Okay, you swipe it. I hope you know this. And it also has got a compass somewhere here, a compass icon, black and white compass icon, but this is a scrollable view. Okay, then when you click here, this will be, the background will be black based on the clicked item. Okay, so if we talk about let's say this category component, cat comp, this category component, okay, it has got a state. As you can see, when you click here, you are affecting the state. Okay, but as a component, okay, it cannot manage its own state. Okay, so that means the use state, let me just say the use state cannot be in here. Okay, it cannot be in here. Okay, meaning that you need to lift the state up, because it's the calling module that needs to govern. Let me do it like this. It's the calling module that needs to govern this component. Okay, meaning that this calling module needs to have this state. This state must be lifted up. The US must be here to tell the entire app that whatever that you are going to do here, as you can see, we need this state here. Okay, because we are going to render the videos based on your filter here, so we need to lift this state up. Okay, and say let's say this is component according to the IDs. Okay, let's say if you click here, it's all videos. If you click here, it's coded design videos, and you've already subscribed. Okay, so coded design, it's number 1. Okay, or 01. You know, we are always number 1. Okay, so it's 01. So this component will check if according to the use state, the state that is here, if it's 01, and then let's say it will fetch coded design videos. Okay, So basically that's the idea. Okay. So basically that's the idea. It will render based on that. Okay. So as you can see, guys, here we are lifting up the state. Okay, state lifting. We're lifting the state up. Okay. So let me just put this into some sort of a more organized and a practical way. Okay. If we've got a UI, mobile UI here, since we're going to use React Native, okay, and then we've got cards here, okay, with some names, list of things here with some names, okay. My apologies, guys, I just need to attend something. I will be back now. I just have to pause the video. Okay, guys, I am back. I hope I'm not going to forget where I was. Let's say we are having some cards here. Okay. Somebody just knocked in or came in while I'm busy, so I had to quickly attend that. Let's say we are having these cards here, as you can see. What am I was trying to explain? Oh my God. Let's see. Okay. I was talking about lifting the state up. Okay, I think we were in React Native. Okay, practically trying to check. I think I was going to explain component composition. Okay, composition. Okay, so I was going to get into the practicality of whatever that I was saying. So we are having this component. Okay, let's call this the card component. Okay, we're having the card components with all of its data, right? And then we are having another component. Remember, let's say this is movie page. Okay, let's say movie screen, because a screen also is actually a component. Excuse my writing. Okay, a movie screen, it's also a component. And then let's say, what else do we have? Just login component. Okay, and then we've got a login component here. Okay, I want to put this into practical so that you can see what can I say, when all these pieces are connecting together. Okay, now you are about to create an application. Okay, somebody who's syntax driven, who quickly wants the code, who quickly wants to see how it works, and that's it. They don't understand what I'm going to teach you. Okay, so now you are going to be very skilled on how you architecture your own screen. This is just a screen, yes, but how you architecture it is either it will make you or it will break you. It's either it's break your neck or it breaks your bank. Okay, so let's see. Now this component, let me just put this component here. Okay, we need to find a way of having a certain architecture on how these components work. Okay, we know that the screen, the movie screen, is going to be some sort of higher up in the hierarchy. Okay, the login screen, which is here, okay, it's part of what, of the movie screen. Okay, and the card component, or the movie card component, okay, let's say the card component, it's also part of this screen. Now let's apply what we've talked about. I've got some states here. So how am I going to, let's say, state distribution? Okay, you need to distribute your state based on the things that will change. Okay, point in case, when we are rendering this, okay, there is coded design tutorial 1, coded design tutorial 2, coded design tutorial 3. Okay, these tutorial will change. Okay, this tutorial will change because let's say there is a filter here. Okay, let me also introduce the filter here. Okay, so this component will change based on what is going on here. Okay, so we've got a shared state here. Okay, we've got a shared state here. Okay, the other thing before we get into a shared state, okay, is the idea of just in component composition, but the separation of consent. Okay, separation of consent. Okay, excuse my writing. Okay, separation of consent. This separation of consent speaks to the solid principle, which I believe Robert C. Martin, Mr. Uncle Bob, the one I open the video with, he's got a contribution in the solid principles. Okay, okay. The S stands for single responsibility. Okay, what are we hitting now once we get here? Okay, we are hitting design patterns. Okay, now I just want to quickly go to the internet and search for design patterns. Okay, not necessarily single solid principle, sorry. Okay, solid principles. Okay, I want to show you that solid principles are not like React principles. Okay, these are just solid principle. I want a list of those if possible. Okay, solid principle, single responsibility principle, that's what I'm going to talk about. As you can see, these are the things that I have learned, which have got nothing to do with React, but they help you to write a code that will be considerable. Okay, after I've learned all this knowledge, which I used to think it won't be useful in React, I realized when I get into the work environment, even some of the seniors, they were not writing a clean code. Okay, the sad thing about a spaghetti code is that let me just quickly type this here. This is my theory. Okay, a spaghetti code, it's familiar. Okay, the sad thing about a spaghetti code, it's familiar. This is what I mean by that. When you are working on something like this, okay, let me just write it here. When you are working on a code that is like this, okay, when you are working on this, okay, remember, when you get into the spaghetti code, you don't just get into it from the get-go. You write a spaghetti code, you write one function, and then you write the other, you write the other as you are thinking, trying to solve the things. Okay, so as you write it, it becomes familiar to you. Okay, this is how it looks to you, but to me, who's writing it, it looks like this. Okay, it looks like this to me as a person writing a spaghetti code, because I don't just get into the code and write a spaghetti code. I know every step of the way because I've got 2 months in this code. Okay, like I've got 2 months. I know this is the entrance. And when I'm explaining to the other guy, I will always be frustrated because I know the entrance, that when you get into this code, this is how you get in. And here there is number 10, and here there is number 12. Let me just change. Okay, there is number 14 somewhere here, and then there is number. I am familiar with this. As a result, it looks cleaner to me. But to somebody else, this is how it looks like. I have been a victim of this. Okay, my boss plugged me into his own spaghetti code, but it was familiar to him. Lucky me, because I already discovered that a spaghetti code, it's not spaghetti to the developer. Okay, it's not spaghetti. So I understood that. So I didn't even give him an idea of he's writing a bad code. I didn't even said that. Okay, we parted ways for other reasons. Okay, not me telling him that this is a spaghetti code. Okay, so we are hitting the solid principle. As you can see now, the principles are still coming. Okay, let me just give you a hint as to what this knowledge can help you with. Okay, I have seen a lot of developers here on YouTube, more especially, what can I say, the developers that I respect, who've got like a lot of experience in maybe in TypeScript. Okay, some others in React. Okay, some others, they've created their own library. Okay, they are always being headhunted by tech companies. Like the other guy, he was working for Next.js. Okay. Um, the other one now, he recently said he's working at Google. Okay, on Flutter, what or whatever. Okay, so why are those guys, they are being handpicked or they are being headhunted? Okay, when you know things in this way, you become a perfect candidate for what can I say? I'm not sure, for a corporate code, okay, or to maintain or create a library. If you understand things this way, okay, sooner or later, a certain company will hire you, or they will some sort of hand pick you and say, can you please help us with this library? Okay, we are building a library. We want your knowledge and your contribution on a library. The reason is, if you are only code focused or you are only syntax focused, okay, you are going only to be called, or you are going to be hired specifically for only creating this module. The company will trust you, but it will only trust you for revolving around views if you are using React Native, or divs if you are using React. And you will be here for almost like 10 years and you will get the same salary. Your salary will only be increased because, well, there's the government, it's helping you to get like 1% or 0.1%, and that's it. But if you understand things this way, okay, this opens your eye or your mind into another dimension of code. Okay, meaning that you don't solve problems with which are more like user related, but you are now in the DevX. Okay, you are improving other developers experience based on what I heard from the internet and YouTube about people's testimony on how they have what can I say, got into a company. I think I was at least watching a story of a guy at Netflix who came as a junior developer, and now he's right up there into like the big dogs and he's earning a lot of money. Okay, they always say something along the lines of, okay, if you are going to be a senior developer, you are solving people's problem rather than users problem. Okay, like coding. Okay, meaning that people's skills and what can I say, enterprise solutions. Okay, let's say you come up with your own shared CN, you come up with your own React, you come up with your own Vue. That's the kind of skills that will be needed by the company. A developer will come to you and say, look, this is the problem that we have, or you will see them doing something and you will maybe write a module that will be used by other developers as well. Okay, so this speaks to enterprise development, okay, whereby you are creating a library. Okay, because you have not theorized this thing, you understand it. Okay, so guys, that's where I'm coming from. As little months as I have with React, but for me, React makes sense this way. Okay, I don't like to get into code and then no, I don't like to do that. I like to understand. Take me through the story. What's going on? What's the idea? What if I get into this problem? How do I get out of it? This method, it also helps me to memorize code. Okay, I don't watch somebody typing a code and I have to commit this to my brain. I don't do that. Okay, I watch somebody coding, I take my own notes. I interpret what they are saying according to how I think it will be best interpreted. And then I will not necessarily even memorize. My mind will grasp the concept automatically. What if now, Matthew, you want to use the concept? My mind will think me into it. Okay, my mind will take me from here. It will say, okay, this is how you come here, this is how you come here in terms of plain English, and this is the corresponding code for it. If you forgot about it, this is how you can help yourself to remember it. Go to that method and type dot, you will get a list there. Maybe check if is there anything that you remember, or dot substring, and then I will go back. And so in a way, I've got a certain way of recalling the syntax from whatever that you see here. Okay, by the way, in case you didn't know, I am creating my own library for React Native. If you are interested in it, you can check one of my videos. Okay, I'm creating some of my applications. I've created them using that library. Okay, where were we? Looks like I'm lost in this maze. Okay, so we were here. Okay, so as you can see, guys, we were hitting the single responsibility principle here. So before we get into the states here, okay, you need to know that you cannot just take this screen and code everything in one module. No, this is wrong. Okay, what you need to do, you need to be concerned about the separation of concern. This login screen or this main screen, okay, is responsible for rendering these components, not for making major decisions. Okay, it must not make the major decision. Okay, it must not do a lot of API fetch calls. No. Okay, so you need to, so now let's just draw a map. Okay, so this is going to be the main screen. Okay, the main screen has got this container. It knows nothing about the movie card because the movie card, it's a separate component. Okay, it's a separate component, but it's part of this. Okay, it renders it. And then we've got the login component. Okay, the login component, which will be part of this. Okay, and we've got the filter component. Okay, and then as a developer now, your skill to some sort of assembly this, first of all, you know that you have to distract it into separate component based on the brief or whatever, and then from then you need to beautifully assemble this so that it can look like it's one box, whereas you know that this is the other part, 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 this is the other part. So when it comes to you having to communicate your idea to the stakeholders or to your superiors, chief executive officer, you can just tell them that, okay, I have used a state pattern here, or I have used a certain React pattern. Okay, so this is how I used it, and explain nicely. And your own code modules, it's like, let's say 6 lines, 10 lines, 15 lines, rather than this like 1,000 and 100 lines with if else and all those things. What have we learned here? Number one, sometimes you have to lift the state up, okay, based on whatever condition. Number two, we have hit the solid principle, which is the single responsibility. Have small modules, okay, it works for React. Have small modules which are only responsible for one thing, okay. This movie card is responsible for the movie card, okay. This login is responsible for logging in, so that you can distribute all the states. It's either you pull down the states to here, or you lift the states up because there is a shared state. Okay, my apologies about that. I think we are getting there. I'm hoping you do get the essence of what's going on in React. If there was a guy who has explained React to me this way, believe me, I was going to take 2 months and I was going to be confident to face any real world practical project. Okay, and also I was going to be confident to brush up my CV and look for work because React makes sense. Okay, I'm React conscious rather than memorizing React and having to memorize use state and use effect and all those things. Okay, so now let's continue. I think now you are a master of use state. Okay, I'm just going to get into use state to give you an idea of the syntax, just a theory kind of a thing, and then I'm going to get into use effect. Okay, so in terms of use state, okay, you use it like this. Okay, you will declare const. Okay, let me just give you an idea. Const. Okay, and then from then you will use this array. Let's say we want to test if something is logged in, so let's just say is active. Okay, this is a variable, and you will have a function set is active. Okay, this is a variable which it is going to be true or false. This is a function that will set this variable, which will assign true or it will assign false. Then you say is equal to use state. Okay, obviously in most cases there is an initial state of whatever. The UI has renders something in most cases. Okay, so you will say, okay, for now it's going to be false up until maybe you fetch data and then it will change. So that's basically the idea. Okay, so we are done with our React hooks. So not necessarily with React hooks, with use state. Okay, hook. Now let's talk about use effect. Okay, now we are about to jump to the practical side of it. Okay, now let's talk about use effect. Use effect hook. When it comes to use effect, think of use effect as a function on its own. It's just like a method. Okay, use effect. Okay, it's like a method. Okay, think of it like that. It's like a method that must be controlled on, or that depends on something else in terms of when is it going to be executed. So it takes an array. Whatever that comes here will determine, let's say, let me just make a practical example. This is active is here as a dependency. Okay, let's say this is active is here as a dependency. This is active as a dependency. Okay, this means that whenever this changes, this block of code will be executed. Okay, I hope you do get that one. It's like now we want to know, we want to execute some instruction when something changes here, when this set is, okay, because we can only change this value by using set is active, calling that method set is active and pass through. And pass through, as you can see. So I mean that this t will go into this variable, and obviously this will change from false to true. Once this changes, the use effect function, let's call it a function now, even though it's a hook, the use effect function will be triggered. In most cases, and for this course, we are going to use effect with an empty array of dependencies, meaning that we are not going to put anything here. That means there will be nothing in here. Okay, there will be nothing in here. My apologies about that. There will be nothing in here. And when there is nothing, then you might ask yourself, when is this use effect going to execute? Then it will execute only once at the start, let's say, or when the screen loads for the first time. Okay, as you can see, sometimes when the screen loads, you want to fetch data from the API. What are you going to do? You are going to put your code inside use effect, and you are going to pass an empty array of dependencies so that you can fetch data here. I hope you are getting there, you are learning something. I really pray and hope that you are getting there and you are learning something. One other thing that I think when we get into code is going to be the first thing that we are going to see. It's JSX. Okay, it's JSX. So let's quickly jump to JSX. It's more like a React way of rendering, okay, or displaying UI components. Okay, so if we've got HTML here, let's say, if we've got HTML here, okay, HTML tag, it starts here, it ends here, then we might have a setting separate JavaScript here. Okay, setting JavaScript here to manipulate this HTML, and then we will have CSS here. We will have CSS here. Okay, let's say CSS here to style this HTML. So it's like we've got 1, 2, 3 different languages, okay, or mockup languages. Now JSX come to say that we can put everything in one, okay, meaning that it's a mix of JavaScript, CSS, and HTML. Okay, so let me just show you how that syntax looks like. Okay, so a JSX component or element is just a function. Okay, so meaning that let me just type function. Okay, let me declare it. Okay, const, I'm creating a JSX element, const, let's say const, my apologies about that. This is a short version of declaring a function, but since I already typed const, let me follow this routine. Okay, const, let's say movie card, which is a JSX component, movie card. Okay, movie card is equal to, this is an arrow function. Okay, this is just a normal JavaScript function, as you can see, guys. So this is just a function, okay, but now I will show you when does it become some sort of a JSX kind of a thing. Okay, let me just remove this because I don't know how much of text am I going to write here. Okay, so this is movie card. Okay, and then this needs to return, in order for this to be a valid JSX element, it needs to return something. Okay, let's put whatever that is in bracket. Okay, it needs to return something. And then since we are in React Native, okay, my apologies about that, we are going to have a view. We are returning a view, and then in a view, okay, let's close the view, excuse my writing, and then inside that view we are going to have a text, and then let's say coded design, and then we're going to close that text. Okay, as you can see, this is coded design, this is text, and then we're going to close this. Okay, so this is some sort of a JSX code or syntax. You are going to see it when we are coding. So this is some sort of a JSX syntax. It's like a combination of all of these three. Okay, so meaning that here, let me just type here and use a different color code. If you want to style, you can style this here. Style. You put your styles here, and then you close it here. As you can see, what if then you want to put a dynamic value here? Now we're including JavaScript. Okay, as you can see, we're just embedding JavaScript right in this code. You just open brackets here. Okay, JavaScript block of code. What variable do you want to put here? Let's say you want to put is active. Is active, it's a boolean. Let's just say name, so that you can have an idea of this is a text. Okay, name. Okay, and then you will have a state variable, my apologies about this, which is name here, comma set name is equal to, obviously use state. Okay, obviously we've got const here is equal to. So I hope now you are starting to see the idea of the bombs and where you put the bombs, and as soon as this changes as a result of this, set what it changes, this will re-render. Okay, this node will have to re-render. Okay, so this syntax is called JSX. The file extension for this file, okay, when you are creating it, it can have .js will work, it can have .jsx, that will work, it can have, when you are using TypeScript, it can have tsx. Okay, we are going to use TypeScript, so it can have tsx. What else? I think that is all. Now I think you are ready to get into the theory. So let's just quickly compare React Native and React, which is React for web. Here we've got a view style, we've got text and what. With normal React for web, we are going to have a div as usual. And then instead of having style, we are going to have class name. And then with the web, you don't really have to put a text component there. Okay, you just put name, open these curly braces and put name there. And then you close your div. Okay, so this is all React, but in this course we are going to get into React Native. Okay, so now let's just jump straight into the code. So what we are going to do, let me just take a water break. All right, let's see. What do we want to do? We want to go to Visual Studio Code. By the way, guys, I am the designer and I'm also a developer. So I've got a channel here, Coded UI, where I teach people how to create and design awesome user interface. As you can see, my latest video, it's Uber Eats. Here I am some sort of designing Uber Eats. Okay, the ZA version of it. As you can see here, I'm teaching people how to create awesome login screen. So as a developer, I would suggest that you learn a thing or two about Figma, because that's how I've managed to land jobs without experience, because I was semi-skilled, and new companies and new tech startup, they are looking for people who can do at least both of these things. Obviously, this doesn't mean that you are going to divide yourself into two people, but it means that when you are given a Figma file, you know what to do with it, instead of being given a Figma file to code it and you are asking the employer how to do it. Okay, so a Figma skill, I think it's a cherry on top. Okay, as you can see, some of the screens that I have designed here, I have coded them here on Coded Design. Also, the other thing, don't forget to join my newsletter. Check the link in the description below. I'm trying to build a community of people who really want to take this further. There are things that I cannot share here on the platform simply because it's text. Okay, so I can't share text files via YouTube or whatever. So meaning that the newsletter platform, it's better. So if you might want to be updated about certain concept, I wrote a book also as well on React hooks. Okay, so if you might want to get that, please make sure you subscribe to the newsletter. I will share it. Okay, so let's continue, guys. Let's get into the code. The first thing that we must do, even though documentation sometimes they are not as clear as, okay, but it's a good practice. Okay, when you want to learn something from scratch, more especially if you want to learn it the correct way, okay, you need to check the documentation. Let's see, React Native documentation. Is that the right documentation? It's not here. Not PDF. Documentation. Okay, so what I'm going to do now, I'm not going to get into this documentation for now, because I want to make sure while we are looking at the documentation, there is a task that is running at the background, okay, because it might take some time. So I don't want us to wait for it. Okay, so meanwhile we are explaining the documentation, it will be running in the background. So let's create a React Native application. Let's talk about the prerequisites. There are things that I'm expecting you to have already, what can I say? Let me just check here. There are things that I'm expecting you have already installed, okay, or you already have. Okay, let's just check here. The first one, it's Node.js. Okay, I have got a video here about installing Node.js, since I'm not going to show you here how to install Node.js. So if you can check here, I've got a video where I teach people how to install Node.js. And also you need to, what can I say, you install Node.js. In terms of creating a React application, we are going to do it here. Obviously you are going to need Expo. Okay, here is a tutorial, and also here is a Node.js tutorial. Okay, if you might want to learn more about Git. Okay, but this one, please come and watch this video, how to install Node.js, how to install Expo, okay, on Visual Studio Code, how to install EAS. Some others you don't really need. Make sure you check this video, how to install Node.js and how to install Expo. I think this one is the one that we are going to create, so please watch this one. Okay, so you will need Node.js, you will need Visual Studio Code. I don't think with VS Code you can just search download Visual Studio Code, and that will be it. As you can see, guys, I've got some awesome stuff here. If you might want to learn more about my own React Native application, check these videos. Here is the name of the React Native application and the logo. It's Africa. It has got an npm package. Okay, so you can go and check it. So now let's go to create Expo app. Okay, create Expo app. As developers, we rely on documentation and websites for a lot of things. So I'm trying to say you don't really have to memorize things. Okay, as you can see, guys, this is some sort of a command to create a React Native Expo. Why are we using Expo? Expo will make it easier for us to run our application, React Native application. If you are just using pure React Native, there are some features that are not there, and it might be complicated for you as a beginner to use it. But Expo gives you a lot of features. You are going to see in this course, I am going to run an Expo application in my own Android phone, React Native application in my own Android phone. What will make that possible? It's Expo. So it's like, I think it's ideal, not even for beginners, if I can be honest, because I have never used a bare pure React Native application. So far, I've been using Expo. So let's continue. So I am here inside this folder, which is YT tutorials. As you can see, this is a folder with a lot of folders. So what we're going to do, we are going to paste this command, and then we are going to say the name of this project is RN course. Okay, React Native course. Let's just press enter. What might be the problem? What might be the problem? The term create Expo app is not recognized. So command what? Okay. Oh, okay. My apologies. I was supposed to have copied everything. As you can see, guys, I forgot npx. My apologies about that. My apologies about that. And then, okay, and then rn React Native course. Okay, React Native course. I'm happy with that. Let's hit enter. So meanwhile, this is processing. Okay, it will take some time, and then let's continue and get into the what's this, the documentation. Okay, let me just take a water break. All right, let's see what we can do. Okay, so this is the official React Native documentation. What I want us to check here is the React Native components, I can say, or elements. Okay, things like view, text, scrollable view, so that you can have an idea of the possible element. Because maybe when we are already here, I might type these things maybe from using Visual VS Code IntelliSense. But if you might want to know what is the list of components that React Native has, you can come and check here. My apologies about that. So let's get into it, guys. The core components and native components. Let's see. Okay, we call views and mobile. Okay, you can go and read this so that you can get an idea of what React Native does. But in a nutshell, React Native has got its own components, okay? These components, and they are always converted to a native platform component. Maybe I should start with what is React Native, okay? React Native is some sort of let me just use this word, a sub version of React. It uses React under the hood, but it's for mobile. Since React is for web, React Native is for mobile. So what it does, it has got its own component, okay, which when you are deploying your project to a React or an iOS platform, it will convert these into the native equivalents. So it's like a converter, okay. It takes the energy of the sun and convert it into current or electricity, okay. I think that's the best way to explain, okay. So it has got its own component. As you can see, it has got a view. This view will be changed into view group for Android view, UI view for iOS, and div for web, as you can see, guys. So you can go and read about these, okay. Let's see here. Okay, is there any use state? For now, not really. They are just showing us how to use this. Okay, so guys, you can come and read there. Okay, let's look at the fundamentals. Okay, now, okay, they are just explaining here it runs on React and all those things. Okay, we are going to cover the core concept behind React. Okay, I think I have talked about components. Okay, I think I have talked about components. I think I have talked about JSX. I really didn't mention props. It's very easy to show you what a prop is. Very, very simple. Okay, so that means you didn't miss a lot of things. I have explained in detail, and let me say this beforehand. I have explained in detail better than React Native's documentation when it comes to the state. Okay, you will see that here. Okay, I can promise you that. In case that's not the case, I will buy you a cool drink or I'll pay you your money back. In case you are asking why are you going to pay me something back whereas you didn't pay me, you are already paying me your attention. Okay, as we speak, you are watching this video, so it is my own duty to bring that back multiplied with tons and tons of high quality education. This is called a designer. I'm Matthew Msingati, the designer and developer. Stick with me. I'll make you famous. I'll take you places to see different faces. Enough about that, guys. Okay. Sometimes you don't have to be that serious. Let's see. What did I say about JSX? Let's see. Okay. This is a function. This is the arrow function. Okay. As you can see, guys, the arrow function is cat. Okay. Okay. Fine. Cat. And then const meow. Okay, this is what can I say, this is not a state in a way. Okay, if you want this to be dynamic, this is not how you do it. You make use of use state. Maybe you might not see this properly. Let me zoom in. Okay, they've just got a normal variable which is doesn't make use of state, and they are returning. I explained to you about this, but I had some brackets here, which is when you are only returning one element, they are not necessary. And here is the text, and you need to export this so that you can use it somewhere else. As you can see, guys, even React Native make use of expo. Okay, so expo is important. Let's just go quickly check what's going on in Visual Studio Code so that if it's finished, we can continue and run this, okay, while we are talking about the documentation. Let's see. Now what we want to do, the name of this folder or project was rn course. Okay, let's just look for rn course here. Okay, let's just look for rn course here. pqrst, where is rn course? Here. Okay, rn course. Let's just open this folder, and I'm just going to check. Come here and open Revealing Explorer. Okay, the reason why I'm doing that, let me just show you what it shows here. The reason why I want this this path. I'm going to copy this path. Okay, so I can move this one. I want this path, and then I want to click File, Open Folder. Okay, I want to open that path, as you can see, guys, and then it's important to press enter here so that here you can see RN course, and then let's select open the folder. Now we are not going to see all the complicated things that we saw before. We are inside this course, exactly this folder. And then what we're going to do, let's close this, let's create a new terminal. In this terminal, let's type a command npx expo start. Okay, in case you might want to know more about this command, please check expo's documentation. I am not clever here. I also have been working on this time and again up until at least I memorized something, but I'm not a big fan of memorizing. Okay, npx expo start. Let's start this project. Let's go back to the documentation. All right. As you can see, guys, okay, at least I have explained a lot of things about this. Okay, here they are talking about handling functions and other things. Do they have state? Good, we are getting there. Here is how to use. So what I want you to do, just, you can even comment if you want to. Okay, looking at the theory that I've gave you, okay, is this familiar? Can you explain this to somebody else? Okay, is there anything that looks familiar? This is a JSX element. It's a component as well. As you can see, this is an arrow function. What's the name of it? It's a pizza translator. Okay, as you can see, they are making use of a state, as you can see, meaning that whenever they are using this text, okay, that component or that part will re-render when they are using set text, when this value changes. Let's go and check where are they are using it. Okay, enough about this. Where they are using it, here is it. Okay, as you can see, so this will re-render when this state changes. Okay, so this is what I'm assuming about what's going on in your mind. Now this is some sort of familiar, it's not foreign. Okay, it's some sort of, it feels natural. If it's not, just comment, guys, okay, and let me know. But believe me, based on how I've explained to you, this is supposed to feel natural. Okay, at least you understand what's going on here. You know that this is the initial value of this. So initially, when this first renders, there will be an empty text here. Okay, as you can see, guys, and then we've got return because this is a JSX element. And then as you can see, here are the views. These are the things that we are going to talk about. Okay, these are the things that we are going to talk about. Okay, we've got scroll views, we've got list views. So guys, you can just come here and look for other things. Okay, so basically that's it in terms of the documentation. Okay, if you feel like this is abstract, this doesn't explain too much, believe me, I also felt like that. Hence, the theory will sustain you. Okay, let's go back to the code. Okay, as you can see, guys, we've got an expo app. Okay, that has got this barcode. We are going to use this barcode to scan it so that we can run this app, what can I say, on my phone. Okay, so what I want to do now, okay, what I want to do now, I'm going to pause the video so that I can get my Android connected with the laptop. I don't want to take more of your time because the process might be lengthy. Sometimes it connects, it disconnects. I don't want you to be involved in all of that. I'm going to use this app called Let's View. Okay, you can go and search it. I'm not using an emulator. I'm using the actual device with the help of Expo, and I'm using this app called Let's View. Okay, so let me pause the video to save your time. Okay, if you are learning something, guys, please don't forget to join my newsletter, and also don't forget to subscribe. All right, guys, I am back. As you can see, this is my Android phone. Okay, I have used Let's View. Okay, I have used Let's View. So let's go to an Expo Go application. As you can see, I've got Expo Go here, and at the same time I've got a Figma app when I want to run my Figma designs on my phone. So let's click on Expo Go and scan this, and you will see what will happen live. So now I'm clicking on Expo Go. Okay, then we will have to scan this code. So this is the advantage of using Expo Go, guys. Okay, as you can see, Expo Go has detected that I've got RN course running. Okay, as you can see here, I've got a chat test and whatever. Okay, so let's now, it's either we can click here. Okay, let me just show you. It's either we can click here, or if this is not here, we can click scan. Since I want to show you also the other way, because clicking on this one is simple, guys. You just click here, there is nothing different. Okay, so I'm just going to show you this one. So now I'm going to click on scan the code. Okay, now I'm scanning this code. Check what's going to happen. Okay, as you can see, guys, it's going to run this app. Okay, now let me try to make sure that my screen is big enough, okay, so that everyone can see, more especially if you are watching this from a phone. Okay, so that this can be visible. Now I'm going to talk about the project structure. Okay, I want to talk about the project structure. You don't have to worry much about these folders, okay, for now. Okay, this course, you won't really need them. Okay, the important what can I say, file that you need to know at the moment is this app.js. Okay, since I am used to TypeScript, we are just going to change this JS to TS, and that's it for now. I am going to some sort of walk you through these files just to prepare you, okay, for the next level, just for you to understand, okay, because I really didn't understand these files when I was a beginner. Okay, didn't know what these files are for. Even now, I don't know all of them, okay, but I'm just going to give you an idea. So before we do that, let me show you how do I change a JavaScript React Native Expo app into a TX version. So what I usually do, number one, let me just show you that if we click here, the app is running, and we can make some changes here, and we will see these changes live. Okay, let's do that, guys. Okay, I am the greatest. Okay, I am Matthew, and I'm the greatest. Not only the greatest of all times. Okay, I'm the greatest of all times. Enough about that. So let's save and see. As you can see, guys, so this is live. As you can see, if I change this changes. Okay, I'm happy with that. What else do I want to show you? Remember, I talked about JSX. Okay, I said to you in the theory, this can be JS. As you can see, it works. Even if this is JSX, this will still work. Okay, as you can see, the Visual Studio Code changes only the icon, but this still works. As you can see, it doesn't break. Now we want to use it's just reloading, I think, but it's supposed to work, as you can see, guys. So when I want to use TypeScript, I don't really get into installing TypeScript. Okay, I just discovered this accidentally, and I realized that it's working. So I was not aware that I don't have TypeScript installed, so I changed this from app to TSX. Okay, and then I noticed that the system has just picked that up, that I am installing TypeScript, and it installed TypeScript for me. Let me show you that. As you can see, this was not here. As you can see, these all things, they were not here. As you can see, TX config, these were not here before. Okay, but now they are here. So when you are changing this to TypeScript and you see something running here, please don't mind. The system is installing TypeScript for you, or getting the project ready for TypeScript. Okay, I think now we are ready. Okay, Okay, please subscribe. I trust that you've already subscribed. There is something that tells me that right now you are hitting the subscribe button because you want to become a better developer. Okay, let's continue, guys. So let me save this. As you can see, this refreshes every time when I'm saving. Let's come here. Okay, the reason why we've got these files here, okay, it's because of this is a Node.js application or project. Okay, so Node.js makes things easier in this way. You've got all these folders here, which it's not a big file, okay, but the heavy folder here, it's Node modules. It has got a lot, okay. This is the one that you don't really mind much about at this point in time, but I'm just want to give you an idea of how Node works, okay. So what Node does, it has got a certain way of installing the modules, everything that you will need, okay. Let's say we want to share this file with somebody else on the internet. When you share this modules folder, they won't be shared, okay. It will be skipped. Only these few files will be shared so that it can be easier for us to share these over the internet. If you want to commit this to GitHub, we will commit these without these heavy folders, as you can see. So what Node will do, when somebody else download these files, okay, they will have to install these files. So it's like Node has taken care of all these dependencies for you, so that when you are sharing your file, you can just share small files, and then when somebody opens this, they will just have to install those files by running a certain command, for instance yarn install or npm install, npmi or npm install. This folder will come back as it is. Now you'll ask yourself, how does Node know that it must install certain modules? Okay, how is it to know? Because this folder will be ignored. Then let's go to the package.json. These modules that you're installing are called packages. If you want to know how many packages do we have, we can come here. My apologies about this. We can see, as you can see, guys, my Let's View has just disappeared. I will just have to connect. Don't mind about this. Maybe it's because I am not using a full version of it, or it's my network issues, but please don't mind about that. So on dependencies, okay, these are the modules that Node.js, when you are running an install command, it will look at these dependencies. It will install this version of Expo. It will install this version of status bar, all these dependencies, as you can see, guys. So when we are installing something, okay, it will come and add it here. Okay, I think that is all for here. Okay, and then as you can see, there is some sort of small configuration about the project itself. So the name of the project, it's RN courses. As you can see, everything is small letters. This is your version. Okay, when you are deploying this, creating an actual application, it's going to be published under version 1. Let's say you want to release another version 1.1, you can just come here and change here to version 1.1. I think this is all about this one. Okay, what else? I don't think there is something else except this asset folder, okay, where your splash screens, they sit here. Okay, this is a React Native course, not necessarily about designs and splash screens and whatever. Okay, if you might want to learn more about how to add a splash screens and icon, I think I already got a video on that, okay, and it has got splash screen in it. For now, since I want to save your time, I'm not going to go to my channel and look for it. It's going to take some time, guys. So but if you might want to learn more about splash screen, you can shoot a comment below. I can create that video for you. That's not much of a problem. And then let's see what's the time now. I've got a meeting around 6:45. Okay, so we've got some time constraints. Okay, so let's see. Let's continue, guys. Okay, I think I've explained everything about this. Okay, let's just look at this code to see if is this familiar. Okay, let's just look at this code. Just look at this code. Okay, export default function. Okay, here they are not using an arrow function. App, the function name, return. Okay, here the curly braces, and this is JSX. I think you are familiar with this. Okay, I have said something about this, but obviously my syntax was not as 100%. That's not a problem. So what we are going to do, we are going to delete everything here. Obviously, if we save, there will be an error. Oh, okay. I need to run my let's view again. Okay, let's just quickly work on this, and then I'm going to run so that we can both see what's going on. I'm not going to save at the moment. So what we are going to do, we are going to type const app. Okay, why am I creating a JSX and app file or component? Simply because this file, as you can see, it's app.ts. It's very important. It's a good one programming practice to always name your component according to this file. It will save your life. Imagine if this is dog and then you want this file. For some reason you don't find it and you are searching here, you find app. You will skip app because your mind is looking for dog. Okay, so please make sure that this is the same thing. Const app is equal to, I'm creating the same function, but I'm using an arrow function. This is a pure JavaScript function. Done. But it's not a React component yet until we return something. Okay, always put this. For now, just gonna create a view, and then I'm going to put a text there. As you can see, guys, I'm not smart. Visual Studio Code is helping me with some other things, and also is auto importing things for me. Okay, it didn't auto import view, but it auto imported text. Okay, so let's say you want to import something, you can just click this, take this component as it is, because it will import it from React Native. You just type comma here and paste this. Okay, so now it has been auto imported. And then let's type here, please subscribe. Okay, please guys, don't forget to subscribe. I'm not going to save this. Let me first take my phone, go to let's view. My apologies about this, guys, but this is not going to take long. Okay, that's why I'm doing while I'm recording. It's not going to take long. Start. Boom, as you can see. Okay, but it just appeared on a different screen. I'm gonna make sure that it's always on top. Remove this black line here. Okay, let me remove the black line here. I don't like this. Okay, just minimize it and leave that black line there. Want to remove it here so you can see. And then let me close this, and then let me run this app. I have not saved, but let me just close this and run it again. As you can see, guys, I'm running it again. Okay, obviously I think it might load the old code. Okay, because I didn't save. As you can see, this dot here means I didn't save. Okay, as you can see, it's still loading that. Now this component, we need to export it. Don't forget, guys, to export this component. As you can see, just look at how is it going to change the color when we are using it. Export default app. Okay, as you can see, now it has changed the color. Now let's save and see, guys. As you can see, guys, now here is please subscribe. Okay, now what we are going to do, we are going to go through a list of components that are available just by looking at this. Okay, this is more like HTML. Okay, like HTML text. Instead of a div here, we just have React Native components, sorry, elements. Okay, so it's no different, guys. We are opening a view, we are closing it here. Inside it, we are putting a text, and we are closing it here. On React Native, you don't type anything which is not wrapped inside a text. It's not like the web. So when you want to type something, always put it in this text, as you can see. Okay, my mind is telling me that I need to change the approach. I was going to take you through all the components that React Native has, okay? All the components that React Native has. But I'm thinking, okay, if you can go to the documentation, that is something that you can see there, okay? When you see image in the documentation, you are going to come back here and type image here, okay? As you can see, you can import it and it's going to work. Obviously, it's complaining here because it will need some props, but it's going to work. If you are looking for a scroll view, here is a scroll view. You can check how it's being used on the documentation and you can use it here. Okay, so I'm trying to be smart here, okay, considering the fact that I've got a meeting soon. So now I'm going to change my approach. Okay, I'm going to teach you things that maybe the documentation might not get into details on. Okay, so let's start with the heavy stuff, guys. Okay, let's start with the heavy stuff. Okay, let me just leave this as it is and save. Okay, so let's talk about the essence of React. Okay, this is can you guys give me a chance to quickly write some styles here? Okay, I'm going to explain this later when we get into styles, so please at the moment just okay, just take this as it is. Okay, I'm not going to explain it. I want everything to be here in the middle. That's what I'm doing. Okay, but I will explain this, okay, when we get here. Okay, when we get here, I will explain this. Okay, what else? Let me save. And then what I want to do, I want to justify content, center, align items center. Okay, as you can see, guys, this is centered. I'm happy with this. So please don't mind about these styles. We will get to them later. Okay, now let's talk about the core essence of React. Okay, we've talked about the state. Okay, so we've got only one component here, which is this component. Okay, which is the app component. That means the entire application. Okay, but it's stateless for now. As you can see, it only make use of this, and this is just what can I say, it's not a dynamic value. Okay, the first thing that we can do, we can use our JavaScript knowledge and declare message const message. Okay, okay, here is the message: you are great, and I literally mean it. You are great. Okay, don't underestimate yourself. Okay, you are great and you are the greatest. Okay, so as you can see, guys, we are not using this message. So now let's go here. Okay, let's see here. I'm just showing you how the JSX syntax works. Okay, we can take this message as it is. We can mix JavaScript here. Okay, check this. Okay, we've just opened a block of code and we've just added this message as it is. Do you see that we've got styles in the same file? We've got message, a variable, a JavaScript variable in the same file. And then when we click save, this gets in here. As you can see, guys, it's being displayed here. This is possible. Okay, now let's get into the important stuff. What if maybe you want to change this? Maybe this will be rendered dynamically. Okay, I am going to introduce another heavy stuff, but because of the theory that I took you through, this won't feel like heavy stuff. Do you still remember what is use effect for? Okay, meaning that we can use effect to run once when this screen first load. Okay, now let's get into the syntax. Okay, get into the syntax. Even the syntax, guys, it's not that heavy. Okay, as you can see, it's telling me use effect. It will import it. As you can see, use effect is being imported from React. Okay, so React Native make use of React. That's why I started with the basics and fundamentals of React. Basically, this is how the use effect work. It takes a function, okay, as an argument. This is an arrow function, an anonymous arrow function, and then comma. We will put an empty array. Why this empty array? We are saying we are going to run this code when what? When this first loads. Okay, when this first loads. Cool, let's do that. So when this first loads, this is constant, mean that when you declare something as constant, you are not going to change it. So let's use let, okay, to change this. And then here, when this first loads, okay, when this screen first load, we are using use effect with an empty dependency, empty array. Then we want to override this message, okay, with, okay, I am also great. As you know, I like to always involve myself. I think I'm important. Okay, I like to involve myself. Let's see what will be displayed here. It looks like it's you are also great. How come? If this runs on the first load, let's first test if is this the active running version. Let's see. Let me type my name here. As you know that I like to stick my name everywhere, Matthew. Yes, it runs Matthew. It looks like Matthew is lying because he said this message will run on the form load, okay, when this first load, and it will only run once. He even in the theory said that we can use we can put here some method that fetches data from the API so that it can be displayed here, but it looks like that is not happening. Okay, the reason why I started with theory, these are the things that I wanted you to nail and master. Believe me guys, if somebody could have taught me React this way, within 2 months I was going to be a professional front-end developer. Okay, because this is important. When you get into practicals and fiddle with React, these are the things that are going to cost you time. Okay, you've been given a project by the client or by your boss, but for some reason like React is some sort of taking you from pillar to post, simply because you don't really understand the concept and the fundamentals. That theory, many will skip it, but it's very important. Now let's get into it. Now let's test, does the code reaches this, so that if Matthew is lying, we'll tell him that Matthew, you are lying. Let me alert something here. Okay, this alert will show something on the screen. Okay, let's say I am here. Let's see, save. I am here, as you can see guys, meaning that the code reaches this part. But why then when I'm changing this doesn't change? Okay, welcome to the what Matthew calls USR. In terms of the theory, if you've been following the theory through and through, you will understand what this means. Okay, so if somebody has just jumped the theory and they got in here, let's just confuse that person. Okay, let's not tell him what USR mean. Okay, I've just deleted something there. Okay, USR. Let's not tell somebody who have just jumped the theory and quickly got in here. Okay, and he's not going to know up until I finish, unfortunately. Okay, I'm joking guys, this is coded design. Okay, USR is my own term that means United States of React. Okay, React is all about state. Okay, let me just go to a theory a little bit. As you know, I am a theory guy, but believe me, now I know I have taught you a lot, so I'm not going to be too much on theory. Okay, so a state is something like this. I'm going to use a real life example. Okay, this is you as a developer now. Let's say you were 18. Okay, and this is you now, let's say at age 30. Okay, here you were still a young boy, and here you are a man, maybe a father. Okay, because of coded design at age 18, okay, you've learned a skill, you've managed to get a job somewhere in between here, okay, and you were financially stable, and a lot has happened from here to here, okay, in your life. And you were like, okay, now I'm a front-end developer, I got a job, Matthew has taught me the fundamentals of React, and now I'm working. From here to here, you transitioned from one state to another, from being single to married. Okay, I wonder why, when you are getting a decent job, earning a certain living, you are going to get married. So let's say this is not you, let's say this is me. Okay, me, I will do that. Okay, when it comes to you, what you are going to do, you are going to transition from having, let's assume, okay, $0 to infinite amount of dollars. Okay, you are a big dog now. Okay, making, I don't even know what or many zeros. Let's say this is $1 million, okay, or $100 million. That means you have transitioned from this state to this state. Jokes aside, what am I trying to do here? Okay, this is what I'm trying to establish here. Okay, this is what I'm trying to establish. I'm trying to anchor into your mind the idea of states so that you can clearly understand it. Okay, let's say this state, it's 0. Let's get into not necessarily coding, programming. Okay, how computer works. It's 0 and 1. Here you were 0, these are binaries, and here you were 1. Here you were false, and here you were true. Okay, a state is like a switch. It's either it's on or off. Okay, so on React, okay, that instance of loading, okay, it's a certain state. Okay, and this variable message has got a certain state. Let's say message 1, and after use effect we are some sort of overwriting it to message 2. Okay, React, when it gets in here, it picks a state just like a switch, on or off. Let's say as an engine, okay, a JavaScript engine or whatever we are executing. This is what the engine will do. Somewhere here it will pick up a state, and then it will say, let's say it will use some numbers. Okay, let's say it will use the code numbers. Okay, let's say we have a state where at code 6, let's name this state 6. This is the only state that we have. What about here? This is still the same state. Okay, why? Because in React, if you want to keep track of state, at least you know now based on the theory, you need to use state. Okay, so this is only state number 6 right through. Doesn't matter what you do. The only state that React knows about, it's only state 6. This doesn't exist in a way, because if you want to render things dynamically, as soon as you want to change things, consider using use state, a hook called use state. I hope now the theory is starting to some sort of to be equivalent to the practical. Okay, it's starting to be equivalent to the practical. Okay, so let's continue with this. So as you can see, guys, we are able to reach this, but the state that we get, it's only this one. We don't get this one. Okay, enough about that. I hope now you are starting to understand the USR, United States of React. Okay, it's very important to grasp the essence of states, because once you lose this, believe me, you will always commenting on my videos that I've got this error, this doesn't happen, and this doesn't happen. Enough about that. Now we have learned about declaring a variable, assigning to it, and we have realized that if we take this method, the JavaScript mentality of overriding variables thinking that they will be updated here, it's going to be a problem. Okay, now let's go back. Okay, now let's change this to be a state. Okay, let's see, let's use a hook. Okay, this is a React hook. Const message. Okay, and then let's create a function. Okay, set message, and then this message is equal to use state. Okay, here is use state. Initially, when we start, I think now the theory, remember, when we start, we are going to say initial state. Now, this is a different variable. Now, this message is somewhat a different variable. Let's save and see what will be there. Initial state. Okay. When I started React in general, excuse me, apologies about that, I really didn't understand what is this. This syntax was very strange to me. Like, this is a method and this is a variable, and what's going on here? I really wanted to know. I am going to explain that. Before I do, let's try to achieve what we have failed to accomplish last time. Now, if we want to change this, we are going to use state. This method, set message. That means we want to set message to we are winners. We are winners. Let's celebrate. Okay, let's save and see. Let's cross fingers, guys, because that's what developers do. Developers has got we have a tendency of typing, and before we run the code, we cross fingers. Here at Coded Design, we don't want to do that. Okay, you didn't really have to get into the pain of crossing fingers. You are not in charge, guys. You must be in charge of your life. Okay, you can't wake up and go to play a ball with your friends and then expect to become a better developer. That is trying to cheat life. You want to cross fingers. So we must do away with crossing fingers. We need to be intentional. Okay, enough about that. Let's continue. So we're not going to cross fingers. This is supposed to work guaranteed. Let's check. We are winners, and indeed we are winners, as you can see. So let's go back, okay, to the theory. Okay, as you can see, guys, okay, it looks like React really respect, okay, USR, United States of React, okay, not of America this time, of React. Okay, React is centered, the core idea and the core essence of React is around this state. If you remember the theory, this, okay, React want to detect what has changed, which node has changed. Okay, React want to be aware, and the only way in which React can be aware of that is through the states. Okay, here initially you were single here, and then as soon as you become married, let me just do this. As soon as you become married, React will detect that through the state, and it will only render this element and its own children. Re-render this only. Okay, I hope you do get that one. So React is very high on state. This is something that you need to some sort of grasp. Okay, so now let me just give you some sort of a background and idea of this unusual syntax of use state. Okay, it was bothering me for a very long time. Okay, we've got const, we've got this variable. Okay, first of all, why am I going to declare a variable inside an array? This was also confusing. This is message msg, excuse my writing, and then we've got set msg is equal to use state. Okay, I think you are familiar with this. So the story here is what you are doing here. First of all, you are assigning variables that are already there. Okay, this method of doing that is destructuring. Okay, here is an example. If I have an array, let's say in this array, let's say I've got a variable. How am I going to do it? Let's say I've got name. Okay, maybe the syntax might not be 100%. Please forgive me on that. I'm just making an example. Let's say I've got name here. Okay, let's say let's say it's an object. Okay, doesn't matter what is inside this object. Okay, then I've got set name, let's say, and then in this set name I've got a method, a function. Remember, here in JavaScript you can assign a function into a variable. Okay, this is a function. Okay, so meaning that this array consists of a name and a function. Okay, so if I assign this array to, let's say, let, my apologies about this. Okay, let's say I assign this to let array equal to, that means we can access, this is double R, we can access these through array. How are we going to do that? Maybe we can say, my apologies about that, we can say RR at position 0. We are going to get this object. RR at position 1. We are going to get this function. We are calling this function. Destructuring somewhat achieves the same thing, but in a shorter version. I can declare, let's say, a const, an array that has got these names exactly. These ones. As long as it has got these names, then there won't be a problem. Meaning that I can declare this name here. I'm destructuring. I'm declaring, but at the same time pulling these values. Name, comma, set name. Then whatever that follows here, my apologies about that. Okay, whatever that follows here, it must be an array that has got these values. Okay, which is, I can say, equal to RR. This will work. Obviously, in terms of the syntax, as you know here, okay, I'm very high on concept. Okay, because in terms of the syntax, this will be like this in JavaScript, but in PHP it will be different. In C# it will be different. So understanding the concept and the principle behind it's essential. Okay, that's how I have learned OOP. Most of the time I've been working on PHP OOP, but there was a point in time where I got an internship and I had to write a technical test in C#, and I've managed to pass it. Okay, and I realized that understanding the concept is very important. Okay, remember, I know nothing about C#. Okay, but I once took a test, a technical test. I wanted to be an intern, and then I had to take a technical test, and I passed. It was a multiple choice question, so the code was familiar. Okay, I understood what's going on there, even though I know OOP from PHP. So let's continue. So as you can see, guys, you can get these values as long as they are in here. So use state. Okay, and I'm going to end here on use state. Use state is a function sitting somewhere in JavaScript code and whatever. Okay, use state, it's a method, you are calling it. Okay, but it has been declared in such a way that this method, arrow, this function, okay, it does whatever it does. Okay, but before it closes, it returns, number one, an array with a state, a variable. This is a variable. Okay, let's say var state. This is the variable that it will keep track of. and it will return a function or a method called, let's say, setVar, let's say. Okay, so it's arranged in such a way that it returns a state variable, okay, and it returns a method to set the state. Here you can use it however you want. Okay, this is what is some sort of happening behind the hood. Okay, I'm just giving you an idea here. Okay, please take the concept. Okay, so whenever you use a use state, it's like you are saying, give me that variable name, but I'm going to change it to name, and then give me that method for setting a name. I'm going to change it to my own, which is set name, and that will be it. And then you are some sort of destructuring. So it's something like that behind the hood. That's why this is some sort of a funny kind, because really when I was new into this, I really didn't understand, how do I declare a message and a function and inside an array? It was a little bit confusing. So this is more like destructuring. Okay, I hope you got that one. Let's see, what is the time? Okay, it's almost there. Okay, so I hope you understand what is a state is, and set message and use state. Let me try something interesting. Okay, let me try something interesting. This is how you are supposed to learn React, if I can be honest with you. Let's set the state twice. Okay, remember we said when we were here before the use state, the state that was registered, it was like the name of the state. It was state 6, and it was only state 6. Now I want to set this state twice. What do you think will be displayed? Okay, now let me type here set twice. Okay, suppose here we've got set twice. Okay, can you shoot a comment below and give me an idea of what will be displayed? We are setting this message twice. Okay, these are the things that you need to know about React. As soon as you don't win in this game of understanding React, believe me, you will sit with an error for I'm not sure, 2 weeks or 2 months, or because you don't really get it. For some reason, you are lost into the debugging and re-renderings. Things are not going the way you want, simply because you have just been following people's code and you didn't really get the essence of React. Okay, let's see. Set twice, as you can see. So meaning that we have managed to set this, we are winners, and from here we have managed to set this as set twice, simply because we are using, okay, set state, we are using this to set this. Okay, I hope you do understand that. Okay, as you can see guys, everything works well. So please don't forget the USR, United State of React. Okay, I think I have explained a lot of things about React. So let's just do a recap. Okay, it looks like React doesn't want us to declare our own variable and render them. Okay, it wants to be aware, it wants to make sure it governs the rendering of your variables. It will tell you that you need to use state so that I can keep track. Okay, the reason why it's doing that, it's preventing you from being caught up into JavaScript and other things. Okay, that's why I said I will learn only 10% of JavaScript, because there's no much JavaScript here. Okay, unless obviously you are getting into some very, very advanced concept. I think I'm happy with this. I have just taught you the use state. Okay, and I have taught you the use effect, the best way to use it. I think that is all for now. Okay, what else do I want to teach you? What are the things that some sort of the essence? Let's get into styling. Okay, let's get into styling. So when you want to style things here in React, now we can delete these styles. Okay, instead of having first of all, let me start with the theory behind styling. Okay, I would like to assume maybe you are familiar with the web. okay, you are familiar with the React or with the web, okay, my apologies about that. Okay, in the web, in terms of styling, in the web, if I've got a div here and there is a label here, and then this is the div, I'm closing the div here, excuse my writing, I'm closing the div here. If I've got a style that changes the color of this div to red, that effect will cascade, it will go into the children, okay. That doesn't apply to React Native, okay. It can apply, I will tell you when, but the rule of thumb, just treat it as if it doesn't apply, because you are not going to use it more often, the application of it, okay. The reason is, with React Native, every element sticks to the single responsibility principle that I talked about. A view, okay, a view is only a view. It's not a text. It doesn't display alphabet characters. Therefore, in React, this view doesn't have a property color in it. With the web version, you've got color here, red, you've got color here, red, you've got color here, red, you've got background color here. But here, this view doesn't have a color because a view sticks to its single responsibility to render other things, to contain other things, but it's not a text. So the text has a color property, okay, because it's a text and you can change the color. So as you can see, having a view here, you can't put a color here hoping this color will affect the text. Let's just quickly test that. Okay, I've got a view here. It contains this text. I want to change the color of a view. Check on this list. There is no color there. Okay, change it to red. Something is wrong. No overload matches. It just means that a view doesn't have a color. Let's just take the same thing as it is and put it on text. As you can see, text doesn't complain. So let's just remove it and save. This is red, as you can see, okay. Remember, I said it can work, it cannot work, okay. I can say when it works on similar element, okay, but my rule of thumb, just treat it as if it doesn't work, okay, so that you can save yourself from, I don't know, from unnecessary things, okay. So let's nest the text here, a text inside another text, and then we're going to say nested text. Okay, let's see what will be the color of this nested text. As you can see, it's still red. So this style cascaded to this nest, okay. So meaning that the cascading does work in a way, but it's not directly applied here on React Native. Then it goes back to what can I say, to a library that at this point in time I'm not keen to use it, okay, which is, it's a React Native library, which is, let me think about it now, I quickly forgot about that. Okay, we've got Tailwind, it's Native Wind. Okay, Tailwind is a CSS utility first library. It makes it easier for you to do the styling. It has got a list of classes that you can just quickly use and quickly style your things. Then somebody created Native Wind, okay. Native Wind make use of all the architecture and how Tailwind works on the web in styling, and it applies that on React Native. Many people are using it. People whom I have learned from, they are using it. meaning that it's something that you can use and it works. Okay, but when I was using it, I realized that sometimes, because of I've got that feeling of the web when I'm using Tailwind, even with native wind, I adopt a similar kind of a thinking. Okay, the reason why, let me share with you another difference between React Native and React, which is the web version. In the web version, when you are styling a div, you use class name. Okay, specifically if you are using Tailwind, obviously it uses only class names. Okay, you use okay, am I correct? Okay, it looks like I'm a Tailwind, like what can I say, fan. Okay, I'm a Tailwind fan. This doesn't mean this is the only way of styling things. Okay, you use normal styles. Okay, normal styles, it's not like you have to use. Okay, but let me just explain it this way. My apologies about that. Okay, so when you are using Tailwind, which is a class utility first approach kind of a framework, it means that it uses classes. So obviously you have to use class name here, and you put all your classes. Okay, now the reason why I don't use native wind, some sort of a React Native equivalent, I always come with the mentality of the web and this class name. This is what I will do. On a view, I will put a class name and I will put a color here, because native wind makes it possible. Okay, thinking that this color will translate to the text. And when that doesn't happen, I won't understand why. Okay, at this point in time, I cannot pinpoint these errors exactly where they happened. Was it I was styling a view thinking that the styles, since on Tailwind it happens for web, I was thinking that the view, when I style it, it's going to continue and style this text as red. I just realized as I'm using native wind, 90% of the styles they work, but there is that room which is, even if it's 5%, that it's not going to work exactly 100%. So I resorted, because of that, I was like, let me just put React native wind, or native wind for now, on the side. Okay, until I'm not sure when, until I feel like I'm ready. But it's a great library, because when I was using it, um I am able to write a component that will work on React Native, and I will copy it as it is and change view to div, and it will look exactly the same. So it's a great library, but I didn't like those inconsistencies. Remember, I was still new. I wanted to learn React. I wanted to understand. Not only I wanted to understand React, that's why I've got my own library. I wanted to go beyond just what can I say, just using React Native. So I wanted to understand how it styles things, so that when I'm creating my own library, at least I can manipulate it. Okay, so done in terms of styles. Okay, and what's going on there, I think you can see this is how styles work. Now let's get into styling. The styling, it's not exactly the same. Okay, the names are not exactly the same. So if you've got the background of CSS, at least you stand a chance. Okay, you stand a better chance. Okay, you stand a better, but the styling, it's not exactly the same. Obviously, even now here, because of time, and also my apologies about that. Okay, I started long time ago. I think this video has been long. Okay, I've got a meeting. Okay, so in a way, I'm not going to finish everything, but the styling, it's not exactly the same. Okay, it's not exactly 100% like a absolute translation of CSS to, what can I say, to translation of CSS to some sort of React Native. There are some differences. Okay, as you can see here. Okay, you put this in the square bracket, and to get more information, you can get into the documentation and check there and see what you need to do. Okay, I think the other thing on this remaining time, what I can teach you is about the components. Okay, remember we said we need to know where does the state go and what and what and what and all those things. Okay, let me just show you that. Let's create a separate component. Okay, let's just create it here in this file and name it separate com.tsx. Okay, and then from here we are going to create a component, okay, which is I'm going to use a shortcut. Okay, RNFCE. Let's see, is it not really RNFE? React functional component. As you can see, guys, React native functional component. I've just created a boilerplate of a component. Okay, this is something that we can write on our own, but I've got an extension here which is ES6 that you can use to give you the shortcut. Okay, I think it's which one? I think it's nope. ES7. My apologies about that. Here is it. Okay, ES7 React Redux GraphQL. It's a very long name. Okay, but you install this and then you are going to be able to use those shortcut. Okay, as you can see, I've just created a component and I have exported this component so that I can import it somewhere else. So my apologies, okay, about that. So what you can do, you can receive props here. I think I said I'm going to show you how to receive props. Let me just quickly do that. I think it will be the most important thing here, okay, for this video. Okay, this is a component. Let's render this component on the main page. Okay, as you can see, guys, we've got this red, and if we want to render the component, we can render it here. Okay, type separate, we will get it here, is it? Okay, and then we can use it as a self-closing tag. Okay, must have one parent element. Okay, I do understand this. I will explain it later. Okay, let me explain it now. In terms of JSX wants you to export one parent element. So this is how we can solve this problem. Let's just put a view here. My apologies about this. Okay, maybe it's because of now I know my time it's running and I need to be ready for that meeting. My apologies about that. Okay, but if there is anything that you want to know, you can shoot a comment below. We can see what we can do. Okay, which JSX, it wants you to return only one parent, as you can see, not two separate element, as you can see. So what we did here, we've just imported an element that we have declared separately. Let's see. As you can see, screen comp, where is that screen comp? It's here. Okay, subscribe. Now we are changing this component into please subscribe. Okay, so it means that with JavaScript, you can create standalone components that you can import. Okay, instead of creating all of this here, you can create standalone component and you can import them. Okay, so what if maybe we've got a message that we want to display in this component from a parent, which is from this app. Okay, now we will do this. Please remember that I'm using TypeScript, so this is like this because of TypeScript. I am typing this. Okay, more about that later. I'm accepting a prop called string, a prop name. Okay, the type of this prop is string, and then I'm just going to display it here. Okay, my apologies about that. Okay, as you can see, so I'm accepting this prop. Okay, so how do I pass this prop on the parent? As you can see, TypeScript is complaining with this red thing telling us that we need to pass a prop. The prop is name, and what we can do, since it's a string, let me just type prop. Okay, let's see what will be displayed. As you can see, guys, it's prop. What if here we can type coded? on this component, it's coded. So mean that we are passing this prop from the parent. Okay, now instead of passing this, we can pass this state variable, okay, as it is, but we're just going to put a JSX code here, and that is it. And then as you can see, set twice. What if we can say ×3 here? This also goes here. Okay, guys, I think that will be it for now. Okay, at least I've given you some sort of an introduction and to React itself as a library, and also some intro into React Native. Now other videos of mine, okay, don't forget to subscribe on this YouTube channel, Coded UI, this one, okay, for some user interface design. Don't forget, I've got a newsletter that you can subscribe to also, so that you can get some other things. And also, guys, now here I've got some videos here which are very basic. Okay, remember I talked about splash screen. I think here is the video that I was showing you how to create a splash screen. Okay, most of my tutorials they are a little bit basic, because in all of them I start by installing the application in most of them. So now that I'd like to believe you've got an idea of how React Native works, more especially the use state and the use effect, I think you are good to go. Let's say you might want to contact me and you might want me to help you with something. Here is my website. Okay, I've got a 10-hour coaching course. So if you might want to contact me, you can just click here in the discovery call, give me your name and your email, and then I'll receive it. We will schedule a discovery call. I will see how can I take you from where you are, giving you all the information according to your unique way of understanding and where you are in terms of programming. Imagine giving you a course with 60 videos, whereas you don't understand all of them. That's a problem. But here we get a chance. I understand where you are coming from. Okay, and then I will explain things based on what you know. If you might want to get more about the course, you can just click here. You will get more information about that course. I am already running out of time, but at least I've got some minutes to continue. I am Matthew Msingati, the greatest, the hybrid, the best of both worlds, the double-edged sword. In South Africa, they are calling me the zebra of coding, simply because I have earned my stripes. See you on the next one. Have a blessed one. Let's get those front-end jobs in 2024. Let's become better developers. Hope you stay positive. See you on the next one.